Boom, you are live. You are back with the crew. Good morning, everybody. Things are shaping up around the farm here, and I really want to get onto this video. I have a few things to touch on before that, and it's really kind of crazy times in which we live. I know they're pushing a war narrative, and I know that. And if you don't, clearly you must know that. They're pushing it everywhere. China's the problem. Russia's the problem. That, we have to fix this problem. We've drawn a line in the sand, and they've crossed it. And I just want everybody to understand that there is more information than that, and that isn't the whole story. And all you need to do is look at Washington, D.C. 2 weeks ago. There was a peace rally. The media never showed up. Nobody in the media even presented to anybody. Okay. The following week, there was a war rally. The President of the United States showed up. I don't know what else you need to know other than the fact that they're promoting war. This is not a solution for you and I. I don't have an issue with the children of China or Russia. Okay, they do. And I don't understand what happened to their diplomacy. Get your butt on a plane and get over there and figure this out. You're a diplomat. That's what we hired you to do, is diplomacy. And there's nothing too insurmountable that you guys can't negotiate to figure out, so all of us on this planet don't have to suffer for your incompetence. That's as deep as I'll get on that subject. Let's remember a video that I did a couple of weeks ago, how they're controlling the information and you're only getting their side of the narrative. And that's becoming really in your face. And Mr. Burns the other day was a perfect example of the fact that he just comes right out and says, well, everything other than Bitcoin is security. Again, I'm gonna say it again. I said the other video, it's not his decision to make. He's not even qualified, and B, he's not a judge, and he's not in legislation. So let's remind ourselves that man doesn't make all the decisions. I know there's a lot of people that gave me comments and posted about the fact that, hey, he's already ruled on this. No, he doesn't get to rule, okay? He's in a court case against Ripple and XRP on that case right now. Let's also remember, he has to litigate all of these companies individually. There's another little point I'd like to make that I was talking to my son about the other night, and I just thought it made so much sense. Nobody in America, or nobody who owns XRP, called the SEC and said, hey, you know what, I think you guys should look into these guys. I think they're corrupt, and I might lose money, and I'm concerned about, them stealing all my money. Nobody called the Securities Exchange Commission and had that phone call. No one, right? I knew my dogs would start barking as soon as I got live here. So they're acting on behalf of the people they claim, right? Only let's do the math on this. XRP has employees. They're Silicon Valley based. They are, already been declared not a security in, I believe, 30 countries. They're already working actively in banking systems in over 30 countries. And yet they took it upon themselves to declare this a security for who? You and I? For the little people? Yet they claim, oh, well, it's for the little people. Even the UK's already ruled on this, okay? And wait a minute. Wouldn't it make sense if they're really worried about your pocketbook and your well-being? Wouldn't they be concerned? Let's say I think there are 20,000 cryptocurrencies. Wouldn't you think that from 19,000 to 20,000, those last 1,000 cryptocurrencies would be a whole lot more risky than the one that's been around since, I don't know, 2015, 14, whatever it is, and is number 7 on the chart, and has all the employees and has already been deemed not a security in all these nations? I would say that would be probably the more secure crypto and probably the more on the up and up and less risky to rip the people off that you claim to be, you know, helping out than the last crypto that was just created last week. Why aren't they going after those people? Anyway, you know why. And here's why. I have a list of many things in which I'm going to read to you that I wrote down the other day about what I would like to ask Mr. Burns and what I think he's really up to, and what I know the banking system really is more afraid of XRP than they are in support of progress or the well-being of you and I's best interest. That's my opinion. My show, my opinion, right? But you can put your opinion down below, and I read all of them, as you guys know. All right. First of all, the global banking dominance that I talk about on this show all the time is the number one biggest reason. Now, they're lashing out because of all the other reasons that I'm going to explain, but they're losing control. And they know this, and it's been happening. And I mentioned in the last show about a show I watched with Lulu and Holly, and a brilliant show, and many of you watched it after I mentioned that, and I think you guys should check that out if you haven't. I mentioned that those people, okay, at the top have an agenda, okay, to stay dominant. Well, it's falling all around them. And one of the questions that Lou asked Holly was, what do you think will be the big sign? What do you think will be the avalanche moment? What'll be the big thing that, hey, that was it. That's what made it happen. And the first thing that came to mind when he asked the question to me was, it's already happened. This is already happening. And it's been happening since about 2015, and that was the formation of the BRICS nations, because they formed their own group of people. Many of you who don't know, the euro dollar was created essentially by the US. I know, sounds crazy, but the US banking system created and helped Europe create the euro dollar, okay? The BRICS nations want to create their own based on, like we talked about, silver, oil, commodities, and other things, that they want to create their own system. This is what's the domino. This is the avalanche. This is the thing that's slowly turning the world against global banking system. And it's been happening, and it's a slow mudslide, if you will, not necessarily an avalanche. Okay. Just my 2 cents on that, and hopefully that makes sense to you guys. As we talk about all the time, remittance payments around the world goes to zero. These people make money off their grandmothers, okay? It's sad what they've done to the poor people and the less fortunate people on the face of this planet trying to send money around the system with the SWIFT system. This is, I'm going to call it what it is, nearly criminal. Okay, what they do to the poorest people in the world, because the people have no other alternative, okay, to transfer their money. It's a shame, and they've gotten away with it for so long. And somebody has come along, like Ripple and XRP in particular, and they have created a system to where these people can trade money from Guatemala from somebody working in the U.S. or the U.K. to back home to Guatemala for pennies. And they don't want to see that occur. Okay? We all know that, but you got to bring it up every now and then, because a lot of people don't know that who are new to either this channel or what remittance really means. Okay. Okay. I talked about this in a show, and this is one of my favorite subjects because it entails you and I. There's going to be about 50 million right now there's about 50 million different wallets Is that correct? 50 million. Yeah, I think it is. 50 million different wallets of crypto that would be immediately affected by the use of XRP, XLM, many others, even Bitcoin, even Lightning Network, all about 50 million, okay, people that would instantly, and I'm talking to people that hold quite a bit, and it doesn't take that many coins really for you to like go crazy if this were to occur, that would become the new wealthy of the world. Again, I went over that in the video, but it bears repeat. It's amazing that they consider you and I, the little people of this world, and the middle class, in some cases. I don't even consider myself a middle class. I have a very humble, modest lifestyle, and I really like it that way. But, you know, one day we will all really shine and prosper because of the wisdom that we've learned about this system and its demise and its our future through Web3 and many other decentralized ways that you and I and the system goes forward, the new system goes forward, with hopefully a little bit more honesty. So we are going to be the new wealthy in many ways that they don't want that to occur. Okay? All right. Another one kind of related, Brad Garlinghouse and David Schwartz would be some of the wealthiest people in the world, like instantly. That almost occurred. Gosh, I should have looked that up. I want to say like 2017, the end of 17. Brad Garlinghouse was being printed up in numerous different articles that he could be one of the wealthiest men in the world, and I think XRP only had to hit like $5 for that to occur for him. So, you know. They don't want him to be in the top, I guess, evidently, although he is kind of connected, and we know that. Okay. This is devastating to the current banking system, which is already in trouble. I don't know how many of you know this, but there's over 250,000 different brick and mortar buildings around the world that are brick and mortar business locations, and I'm talking some of them skyscrapers, that they use a lot of energy. They have millions of employees. You can imagine with 250,000 different banking locations globally. And that business model, that profile is done for, and they know it, and they see it coming. And it's sort of like, you know, everybody uses it, but, you know, it's like the map. What happened to the phone? What did the phone do to the map? What did the phone do to the camera? You know, it's what happened to Blockbuster? Okay, they know this is coming, and they're trying to catch up digitally, and they're trying to slow down. They're even slowing down CBDCs. I don't know if you've been following that, but they're even trying to slow that down because they don't know what they're doing with it, and they have no clue how to make all this happen. Again, why they need XRP. Okay. And banks are holding off as long as possible. This is obvious. There's so many different ways, but the biggest banking institutions in the world are, some of the biggest are flipping, and that would be Hong Kong, Singapore, and they're already flipping. And this is happening as we speak. And the US is going to find itself in trouble if it doesn't catch up, or if it keeps letting Mr. Burns, you know, anyway, that guy, anyway, don't get me started with that guy. Okay. I already spoke about this. The fall isn't one event. It's a slow mudslide, and it's been happening for years. It's going to continue to happen. When you see the fear, and I commented to a couple of people how I know they're in fear of what's happening, they're trying to grip tighter and tighter, is when they have Mr. Burns come out and tell lies in the camera. He has no authority to say what he's saying, okay? And their lies are becoming more and more absurd. And they talk as if they rule the world. They don't. They only rule the US, and they only rule their own media. They don't rule your life. They're not in control of you and I's mind, our soul, or our spirit, or our vibrational well-being. That's in charge. You're in charge of that. And there's more and more people, in particular people in this channel, that understand that those people do not control me vibrationally. I know I'm more powerful than their ridiculous laws and rules. And speaking of, I don't know if you saw what happened in Illinois the other day, and they're creating legislation. It hasn't been passed. Let's see if I can tell the story real quick. They're trying to create legislation that says the person who owns the smart contract will be responsible to reverse it if it's written in the state of Illinois. Why don't you just try and make a law saying water's not wet? Do you even know what a smart contract is? Do you even have the concept that it's not a human being and the person that creates two sides of a smart contract? This person says, these are my 3 requirements. It's put into a smart contract. The person who comes along and says, I can fulfill those three requirements in that contract, I like it. Boom. They have a smart contract who does everything for them automatically. It has nothing to do with either party. Either party just wants what they want. The middleman has no man in it. These people are writing our laws, people. Do you know how absurd that is? Like, you can't fix that. You cannot stop that contract once it's occurred. Sure, you could write maybe another smart contract that could fix whatever you think that was wrong with the first one, but you can't stop that. It's on a blockchain. It's done. It's already been sealed, done, time-stamped. Next block. Move on. Anyway, how a lawmaker doesn't know that? Clearly, there's lobbyists behind that whole thing. Now, I'm making this video too long. Lobbyists, what was it? God, I heard a great quote the other day. Well, we know what lobbyists are. Anyway. Okay. The banks don't work for the people. This is pretty obvious. We know that. They give you less than 1% interest. On a home, they're charging you 7% over 30 years when you had to put 10 to 20% down and they didn't put any real dollars down on a house. Think about that. You had to put real money in. They didn't have to put a dime in of real money. That's right. Fractional reserve banking gives them the right to say, now, because of 2020, they don't have to have any fractional reserve. They get to say, oh, I have $1 million and I'm writing you a home loan. And you have to pay 7% interest on that, but yet when you put your money inside their bank, they give you less than 1%. All this is in their favor. Just think about credit cards being 20%. And why is it the interest rates keep going up and, the Fed keeps coming out and saying, well, we're raising the interest rates again. Well, if we were getting less than 1% and they raise the percents every month or every other month, why isn't our number going up? Our number never goes up. Interesting, that one, right? They don't work for us. They work for themselves. They're in a profit. You are the sheep, remember. Okay, bonds are going away except for the number 2, and I already mentioned this, I think, in another video, but the number 2 selling bond in the world is a Bitcoin bond out of El Salvador. That's crazy, people. There's now 3 other bonds that have opened, and those bonds are backed on cryptocurrencies of different sorts, and they are going to be the future of the bond market, because writing a bond on a municipality, of course, that's necessary. We need that for a new bridge or a new whatever water system, sewer system. However, the rest of the bonds, I mean, Apple came out and wrote a bond. Tesla wrote a bond. I mean, who do these people think they are, generating money off of you and I when they can just sell stock? Right? They were looking for capital. Okay. Anyway, I don't get too deep into that. At the top, this links back to the information I was started this video with. What you get is what they want you to get. The narrative that you have in your head is what they want there. You have to have an open mind. You have to be able to have discernment. Listen to everything that's being talked to or in your neighborhood or on your television. Please throw your damn television away. I'm telling you, it will help your life. But all of this, if you're not using your own personal discernment for your own well-being, you're allowing somebody else's thoughts to come into your own head space, which affects your energy, which affects who you are. If you aren't grounded and you aren't humble, and one of the 8 billion of us in this vibrational universe that we all live in, like the animals of this planet, okay, are in tune completely with that. They live their entire existence in it. You and I, the ones that are aware of it, spend moments in it of each day. And I try to spend more and more each day. And I'm telling you, it's very beneficial to your life, and it is relaxing. It does help you in those trying times. But constantly pounding yourself with the information, the narrative that they're trying to tell you, sell you on, well, that's how you get millions of people to pick up a gun and shoot millions of other people. And it's sad, okay? And I don't really want to end this video on a sad note, but there's too many people that really believe that's a solution to your life. And it's not. And we need to give these people less credibility and less control and power over your lives. And that's your responsibility. That's not your politicians. They failed us a long time ago in that category. Now all you have to do is look around. They're taking care of themselves through the bribes of lobbyists. They're not taking care of you and I. They're not taking care of chemical spills or waterways or electricity grids. That's not their priority any longer. Their self-preservation and re-election is really what they're up to. And I don't want to get too political, because I don't care about either side of the coin. I think both sides of the coin really is. It's a level of corruption that's so deep in so many years now that I don't think you can even really, put a title to it. But anyway, we have things like this channel and the people in this Navy, I'm going to call it. People keep calling it XRP Army. I'm going to call it my XRP Navy. But anyway, it's not just XRP. I own at least 30 different coins. I love them all. I really believe that there's something really big going on with XRP, and it's around the corner. I know I've been saying that for a long time, but it is true, and all the signs point that way. And those of you who don't believe in that and don't like the coin, I'm cool with that too. You should move on to something else. I mean, I get that. There are so many great projects out there, and I mentioned all of them all the time, but Theta comes to mind, and Cardano, and I am a Bitcoin guy, and I know there's a lot of people in XRP. Oh my God, he said Bitcoin. Oh, they're the problem. And, everybody thinks somebody's the problem. And it's like, that's not the problem. The problem is what you think is the problem. Anyway, now I am rambling along. So I hope you guys got something from that. Just some notes I wrote down about what I would like to say to Mr. Burns if I had him in a room, and how I think that you and I don't need to listen to people like him. Because I think you're more in tune with where the future of mankind is going, in particular with technology. And for that, I love you all. I am out. So a guy calls me, calmly enough. Al, yeah, what's up? Hey man, can you help me out? I'm like, sure, whatever you need. Now, give you a little context to the story here. He's the captain of the boat next to me. I go, hey, what's up, man? He says, hey, I got a hole in the bottom of my boat. I'm like, oh my God, man, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I got my hand over it. Well, how'd you get a hole in the bottom of the boat? You're tied to the dock. He goes, well, I drilled a hole in it. Yeah, that's what he told me. He drilled a hole in the bottom of his boat. Yeah, all was in the water. Crazy, man. That's just a level of crazy. Makes me wonder how he ever became a captain.